Hello there, my friends. 2023 was a wild year, and we had some high highs and some low lows. In this video, we're going over it all, including the video games and the content inspired by them. Let's get to it. The Last of Us series released on HBO Max. The CGI was really well done with the infected. The two leads were just exceptional in their portrayal of Joel and Ellie. In fact, everyone killed it playing their roles. You could easily put scenes of the show side by side with the game and see how faithful it was to the original source material. Troy Baker, the popular voice actor who has portrayed so many iconic characters, most notably Joel from this game franchise, was present in the show playing a different character. And in that final episode of the season, Ashley Johnson plays the role of Ellie's mom, the same woman who portrayed Ellie in both games. Not everything was great surrounding this show, though. Some were rude as hell online, talking about Bella Ramsey, who played Ellie, saying she looks like a fetal alcohol syndrome baby. Come on, bruh, don't be like that. Now, talking about actual video games, there was the Dead Space remake. Some were skeptical before the game dropped, part of that being EA publishing the product, a company that has made terrible decisions in the past. But this remake was freaking good. It took what made the original stand out and simply changed things up for the sake of being a better experience in the modern era. Switching to more lighthearted content, Hi-Fi Rush also released. It's a rhythm-based action-adventure game that at the time of this recording is still exclusive to Xbox. It shadow dropped and many considered it a welcome surprise. It's a cartoony, quirky game published by Bethesda and developed by Tango Gameworks, which is the company behind The Evil Within and Ghostwire Tokyo. But anyways, it's a super neat game. I mean, you beat up robots to the sound of the beat. Very unique. And finally, the last game that stood out during this month was SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake. It's a sequel to Battle for Bikini Bottom, and it's made by the same developers. This time, there's different costumes SpongeBob can wear, and the gameplay changes more often than the first. Unfortunately, this game and the remaster of the original from 2003 got points knocked off on reviews for them feeling like old games from the early 2000s. That's the point, though. I enjoyed playing through the levels because they're in an old format, and that's kind of its charm. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing.
Leviosa.
Harry Potter fans got a new game since the Lego ones that was worth the wait. Hogwarts Legacy has finally arrived. Everyone was playing it. Randy Marsh was playing it. But for real though, it was cool. Hogwarts was well detailed, lots of secret locations, talking paintings, you know how it is. Anyways, Nintendo was releasing things, as they should. Metroid Prime Remastered dropped, and it seemed like everyone was happy with that. GameCube games on the Switch are always appreciated. Kirby's Return to Dreamland came out as well, and Nintendo actually put a lot of effort into this port. Not only did it remaster, but it added a ton of additional content that made it worth paying for again. And in real life, Super Nintendo World opened up for the first time in the US through Universal Studios Hollywood. It looks like heaven on earth to me, man. They got this Mario Kart ride where everyone wears these cool glasses. They got Mario themed food. They got plant. Nintendo, please sponsor me. Give me tickets to Nintendo World.
Resident Evil 4.
Resident Evil 4 remake dropped and it was good as hell. Quality-wise, it's similar to the other entries of this current era that began with Resident Evil 7. People already knew that this game in particular stood out as a memorable one, and after playing it for the first time through the remake, I see why. And throughout the year, it only became better and better, so pat yourselves on the back, Capcom. I'll keep this brief since we talked about Last of Us a lot earlier, but they did just drop Last of Us Part 1 on PC. It wasn't perfect, though. Anyways, the Super Mario Bros. Movie came out. You know, the movie that originally broke the internet through that one Nintendo Direct in 2021.
Are key cast members who will be voicing Mario and his friends in the movie. First, of course, is Mario, who will be played by Chris Pratt. He's so cool.
After that casting, the world knew whether the project ended up being garbage or fantastic, it was gonna be interesting. And in the box office, it succeeded, making over $1 billion, and is the highest grossing movie based on a video game. Well done, Nintendo. A Minecraft spin-off released. Woohoo!
Behold, I always wanted to say that.
So this is Minecraft Legends, a spin-off of the original game that gave the fans a story for the sake of better establishing the wide, blocky world of Minecraft. Because, you know, we never ever had a game like this before that gave Minecraft fans a story. But anyways, it's alright. It sure as hell isn't close to the original game's level in terms of entertainment value. There's Star Wars Jedi Survivor as well, which was released a tad buggy. It was enjoyed by many nonetheless. I don't know. I guess people can teleport in Star Wars now? What else is new? Dead Island 2 released this month, though, a game that never seemed like it was going to come out. So that for real deserves some actual respect. Unlike other products of the industry, the game was actually released in a finished state. The graphics were impressive, zombies were satisfying to kill, and the gore system only added to it. Just wait and see what the next month had to offer, though, because this next game deserves no respect. As Morbius was the movie of all time... As Morbius was the movie of all time, making more billion... As Morbius was the movie of all time, making more $1 billion in the box office, Datalek Entertainment realized that we don't have a game of all time. So they graced us with Gollum. Yeah, it was bad. It got delayed before release too, so I don't know how that ended up being like that. They then came out with the worst apology imaginable. In the apology, they misspell their own game, The Lord of Ring Gollum? And actually it makes sense, because this whole thing was written by ChatGPT. Come on, guys. Unbelievable. But in this bipolar-ass year, with every Gollum, there's a Tears of the Kingdom. We're back as Link after the events of Breath of the Wild, with an updated Hyrule that includes a whole underground world and areas in the sky. This was the first time they charged $70 for a game. Very lame of them, but personally, I knew I was going to enjoy this game for many years to come, so it was actually still worth it anyways. Oh, and LEGO made a racing game with 2K. That was pretty cool. Alright, last one of the month. Remember Outlast? They made a new one that's multiplayer. People are into it.
Let them come.
Optimus Prime is in Fortnite now. There's now a jungle and some mud, but it's not any more fun. It's weird. Technically, the game is arguably the most interesting it has ever been at this time, with the mega city essentially being tilted towers on steroids, and the graphics are beefed up, but just because things are prettier and bigger doesn't always translate to a game being more fun. Street Fighter 6 is finally here. It got ridiculously good press, graphically pretty good. You know, it's a game that functions. It really took the Street Fighter thing to heart with this installment too. Fighting sometimes takes place on a street that seems sporadic. It's got a pretty good character creator. Oh yeah, and there's Ninja Turtles too, but they were kind of expensive, so people started making their own Ninja Turtles instead. So last month we had an OG horror series return, and now that's happening again with Amnesia. In my opinion, this release seemed overshadowed by the other things that were dropping during the year, but it was nice to see the series back nonetheless. And finally, Diablo 4 dropped. Seems like many were into it, but this is a game by Blizzard, which means that some horrible business practices are going to be present. But this was cool. I know Diablo 3 released way back in 2012 originally, so this was a long time coming. Pikmin 4 is out now. Probably the best one of the whole series. There's puppies, there's a Game Boy in it. Also, My Friendly Neighborhood came out. There's a really great game theory on it. It's like a demented Sesame Street. Genius idea. This genre of games is getting a little old with Bendy and the Ink Machine, Garden of Banban, and definitely Poppy Playtime. These games that certainly got inspired by FNAF, doing something that appeals to kids, like a Chuck E. Cheese in this example, but make it scary. No longer shocking anymore to see the demented spin on children's stuff, but I do think this entry in the genre deserves recognition. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre game came out. It seemed well done, and in my humble ass opinion, continue playing Dead by Daylight instead. It's the same kind of game, but DBD involves characters throughout all of horror, and it has Leatherface himself in it. But anyways, Baldur's Gate 3 dropped, a video game that actually released in a great state that isn't an unplayable, buggy mess. Now, can you believe that? I'm looking at you, Cyberpunk. Meanwhile, Rockstar decided to give us Red Dead 1 again, but they barely put in any effort, and we're asking for $50. A little stinky of them. And finally, Eating Games brought us a title that set a new bar in the gaming industry.
The Smurfs are back to step on the gas. And here we go, the race is on.
I'm just kidding, I didn't play that. This was a stacked month, so I'm going to be a little all over the place here. Mortal Kombat 1. It's really 12, but they've restarted the timeline. It's 1. With Omni-Man, John Cena Man, and Homelander Man. They all coming later. That's awesome. They got these cameo fighters that will join in on your fight. Graphics are good. And down the road, they started releasing overpriced cosmetics. Boo! Yo, and Payday 2 got a freaking sequel after all these years. The servers weren't really running, but yeah. Do you like From Software games? Do you like Pinocchio? Liza P, everybody. And that's what Liza P is. Bethesda also dropped this little game called Starfield. They spent a lot of time and money on that one. But remember Skyrim, which released way back in 2011? It's just that, but in space. EDP, what do you think about Starfield?
I mean, it's alright, like, overrated as fuck, in my opinion. I mean, and you know what, though? That's typically how the bullshit goes, you feel me?
Honestly, the wildest thing to come out of this was Cyberpunk. It's a functional game now. They had a big 2.0 update alongside new DLC. Idris Elba's here now. Good job, CD Projekt Red. For real, that's amazing.
We're going to heal the world.
Now, this was a wild freaking month. 3 contenders for Game of the Year dropped, those being Spider-Man 2, Alan Wake 2, Mario Bros. Wonder. Spider-Man is a character I love. I think the stories involved with him are almost always great, and this didn't lack with that. Unfortunately, it just didn't want to work for me. So, yeah, that sucked, to say the least, but there was still a lot of memorable stuff in there and some great hype for the future. Alan Wake, I didn't play, to be honest. I just heard they did a good job. And it's a long-awaited sequel to a classic, so it was bound to be good. Mario Bros. Wonder actually advanced the 2D Mario games for the first time in forever, with more content than usual, more freedom, and a captivating art style. A variety of little enemies to annoy the shit out of you, and you pick whatever levels in the order you please. At the tail end of the month, a beta for a game known as The Finals was released. Another free-to-play shooter, but this time there's destructible environments and a game show vibe to it. Oh my gosh, and I didn't even talk about the FNAF movie. That was wild, man. It was like a celebration of internet culture on the big screen. MatPat was there, Corey X Kenshin was there, Markiplier was almost there. It was great.
Bravo 6.
Modern Warfare 3 dropped and it was mid at best. Campaign is short as hell and bad. The multiplayer is fun and so similar to last year's that this whole thing might as well have been a free DLC. Meanwhile, Fortnite just released their OG event that lasted a month long with a battle pass that contains remixed versions of classic skins. They actually took us back to 2018 Fortnite. It was unbelievable. The game peaked with concurrent players and they actually deserved the success. Guess who is back? Back once again. Mario is back. Through another remake/reboot. This one was highly anticipated, well done, and appreciated by many, so I can't complain.
And the Game Award goes to Lord of the Rings Gollum.
We've now made it to December, one of the beefiest months. The day before released, a zombie game that was first revealed a while ago and looked way too good to be true, and unfortunately that was the case. Remember that beta for the finals? Well, now it officially released and has some Vegas type of content. Super cool. Ooh, and that Avatar game dropped, but it's Ubisoft, so it's just decent. It's okay. The Game Awards were eventful, of course. It was kicked off by roasting Call of Duty. That was much needed.
My speech was actually longer than this year's Call of Duty campaign.
And Fortnite showcased their dominance in the industry by putting their ads throughout the entire thing. Speaking of Fortnite, there was a live event with Eminem that effectively wrapped up the OG season, and they released 3 whole new games in the game. LEGO Fortnite's likely the most prominent addition to it. It gives many skins LEGO styles, which makes them more worth paying for, and the game is so good that some consider it on par with Minecraft. There's then a racing mode that was made by the Rocket League team, and a rhythm-based music mode with both licensed music and original music that has cutscenes which beautifully shows off the skin you're wearing. But what's prominently cementing itself in video game history this month is Rockstar Games for dropping the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer. I must have watched that 20 times. It felt unreal. A minute and 30 seconds of basically Florida simulator. Since the trailer's launch, many have picked up on neat little details and pointed out that many of the wacky characters in the trailer are based on real Florida residents. And if anything is going to mock society nowadays, it has to involve social media's influence, and it looks like they're doing just that. I already made a whole video on how wild the hype has gotten, but I assure you, when the game releases, there will be clear skies and 0 traffic because everyone is taking that day off of work to stay in. So that's 2023 in gaming recapped for you. Now we wait for 2025 for GTA 6 and The Last of Us Season 2. But until then, in 2024, there's Tekken 8 and The Wolf Among Us 2? But seriously, thank you for watching. You are appreciated. And subscribe for Smurfs Cart.